Hello everyone, if you are not already familiar with me, hello, my name is Alivia Brown and I am currently a third year undergraduate student at UCLA studying anthropology. And as you saw in the title of this video, today we are going to be talking about cultural anthropology classes that I have taken in college thus far. And if you've never seen my videos before, I actually make videos pretty exclusively about anthropology related topics. So if you are interested in anthropology, you want to study it, you already study it, you're a graduate student, I don't even know, you like anthropology, okay? Feel free to check out any of those other videos. But without further ado, I'm just going to jump into the classes that I've taken and give you what you're here for. Okay, so this far in college, I have taken 4 cultural anthropology classes. One of them is a cultural anthropology prerequisite, and the other 3 are actually upper division anthropology classes. Now, the first one, I'm not going to talk about it very much just because it's a class that you're going to take at pretty much every college you go to, but I still wanted to touch on it just in case you aren't already familiar with the protocol and how you take classes in college. Okay, so this first class, I have a list in front of me, by the way, on my laptop, so that's why I'm looking down. But the first class that I have taken is Anthropology 3, Culture and Society. This class is your classic introduction to cultural anthropology. What is cultural anthropology? Why do we study it? Who are people studying all around the world? And I think it's important to note that these introductory classes and these upper division classes are actually strongly influenced by who's teaching them. So there's a big sway as far as what you're learning depending on what that professor actually studies. So in my case, we looked a lot at the formation and the structure of cultures all around the world. And as much as I want to say I loved this class, woohoo, I actually didn't have the best professor for it. There's 2 professors. One of them is known for being really good and one of them is known for being okay, and I just had the okay professor. So while it was a good classic introductory class to cultural anthropology, I wouldn't say it was like the meat of the topic. And that's what upper divisions are for, so let's just talk about it. Okay, now this class, okay guys, this was kind of a trip. I don't even know, like a fever dream, okay? This was the weirdest but coolest class I've ever taken. And that class was called Anthropology 136B, Introduction to Psychological Anthropology. Now, I went into this class thinking that I was gonna get the brain and why we think the way we think and how that's connected to humans and the human experience, but that was not at all what I got. It turns out that psychological anthropology is actually not psych. It's more of like a historical, cultural approach to anthropology. Who knew? Not me. Now in this class, we learned a lot about ethnographic field study, we learned a lot about person-centered interviewing, but in the context of these very unique individuals and unique cultures. So the professor who I had that taught this class, his main mode of study is person-centered interviewing, and we got to see this a lot through the books that we read. So one of the books that we read was called Tuhami, another one was called The Pastoral Clinic. I think the other one was Radical Hope. And if you have interacted with any of these novels, then you would know that the people and the cultures at the center of them are struggling. And to say the least, they were not really easy to get through, but you look at individuals who experience the world so differently than you and I might. And obviously you experience the world differently than I do, and that in itself is making assumptions, and I don't want to make any assumptions or go any crazy, but I'm telling you that it was really interesting to take a class where you really are breaking down the way that you understand the world, because you're seeing the world through other people's eyes and other cultures' eyes. I mean, you're looking at pathology, you're looking at deviance, there's a lot that you're gonna cover in that class, and it's definitely not for everyone. It wasn't riveting while I was in it, but the books that we read in that class I literally still think about. So yeah, that was psychological anthropology. Now the next 2 classes that I took were actually taught by the same professor. Ended up happening, I took one with her and I was obsessed with her. I was like, this woman is everything. So then I took another class with her, so it's all kind of related to the same thing. The first one that I took was called Anthropology 145P, I believe. 145P, Marriage, Family, and Kinship. Now this class I was actually so excited to take and was not let down literally at all. I think, again, I'm from America. That's probably obvious. I don't even know why I said that, but I'm from America, and here I definitely think there are, there's some norms here, okay, about marriage and the way that family dynamics work. And I, again, think cultural anthropology classes do a really good job exposing you to different possibilities. And so breaking down even the class title, marriage, family, and kinship. Let's start with marriage. We looked at different marriage systems. We looked at polygyny, polyandry, ghost marriages. Guys, if you didn't know, I think there's actually a popular book out right now about ghost marriages. Like the Ghost Bride or something. I haven't read it yet, but my point is this was something that I had never heard of before taking this class, and what can happen, not that you need to know this, you want to know about the classes, but really interesting fun fact is in some parts of the world, I'm gonna write right here what it is because I don't remember at this point in time, you can marry a ghost. So like if someone dies, it's really important in this culture to be married, and it has a lot to do with like what gets passed down and who's connected to. It's very complex, but basically you can marry someone that has already passed away. And imagine learning about something like that and then comparing it to the system of marriage where you live or where I live. I don't know, it's just so interesting. Like no human experience is better or worse, or it's just different, you know? And I don't know, I loved learning about that. Then, like I said, after that class, I loved the professor so much that I took yet another class with her, and that class was called Anthropology 163, Societies of Central Asia. And I actually talked about that recently in a classes I'm taking video. Actually, I think that was last quarter. Gosh, time flies, man. But I'll have it linked here. It's not over there, it's over here. I have it linked here if you want to hear about the other classes that I was taking at that period in time. But this class was definitely more of a history class. And I love history, okay, but I certainly like the anthro side of history, connecting history to humans. And like I've been saying this whole video, the human experience. And yeah, this was a lot of history. So if that's your thing, you're gonna love this class. But the main regions that we covered were Tibet, Soviet Russia, and Mongolia. And again, these were really parts of the world that I didn't have a lot of familiarity with previously. So I have a little list here because I'm not the best at remembering history. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but we learned about like economic isolation, trade, survival, politics, and also just what modernization has done to this region. And that was really, really interesting. And again, this was the professor's expertise as she studies in Tibet, I believe. So it was really interesting to like hear about these things through the eyes of an expert. Now, all of the information that I have shared with you today, minus the part that was related to my experience and my opinion, was actually referenced from the UCLA class registrar. So if this is something that you're interested in, I'll have that linked down below if you want to check it out in more technical detail. But yeah, that has been my experience in cultural anthropology classes thus far. If you have questions on maybe other anthropology classes that I've taken, or I don't know, just anything in general, please let me know. For any of my returning viewers, I mentioned a few weeks ago that I'd be talking about books soon, and I apologize that it does not come out sooner, but a little preview. I have been reading a very popular, very acclaimed novel that has to do with anthropology and history. And if you have any guesses, that's what's coming, okay? So yeah, it's coming. If you haven't seen my Sapiens, again, it's over here. If you haven't seen my Sapiens book review, go check it out. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So I hope you are having a fantastic Sunday, and I will see everybody next week. All right, bye.